keep trying and pushing forward, that's for sure. And then, of course, very important is to have good people around you supporting you through the journey. And you will need a lot of resilience, a lot of perseverance.
Welcome to Clicks and Bricks Podcast. We talk about the entrepreneur mindset, everything from that Main Street brick and mortar to that billion-dollar manufacturer. Be sure to head over to clicksandbricksacademy.com so you can access all the resources to start improving your sales today.
Julio from the Motor Chain is revolutionizing how we preserve our classic cars. How are you doing today, Julio?
Hey, Ken, how you doing? Very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm fantastic. Thank you for joining us. I'm super excited about this show. Most of our viewers don't know this, but I sold my 1966 Impala about 5 years ago, and it was one of my prides and joy, but the family ended up coming first on that one. So you have a mission to preserve the data of classic cars. Is that accurate?
That's correct. We put that mission to ourselves. Unfortunately, most of the documentation of classic cars were lost during the time.
Okay.
But now with the technology that we have these days, the possibility exists to collect and preserve the history of these cars forever.
Fantastic. So before we jump too deep into your technology and exactly how you do it, do you mind just taking a couple of minutes and telling the audience about who you are and a little bit about your history and how you found this passion to start the company, the Motor Chain?
For sure. So I'm turning 46 this year. I'm originally from Spain, Madrid, and a computer science engineer. I moved in 2009 to Switzerland, to Zurich, which is where I live right now. My professional background is a computer engineer. I work for big corporations like 300 million IT budget, mainly in Spain and Switzerland, telecommunication, human resources and staffing. I specialize myself in IT governance, security and compliance. So my latest goals were helping group CIOs to manage the whole IT department and to implement IT governance into the whole IT thing. But a couple of 3 years ago, I was looking for my first classic car, and I found one which was in my budget. And it took me a year to actually pull the trigger. The budget was okay. It took me 1 hour to visit the car, to inspect the car, and to take a look to the documentation of the car. And then the Motor Chain idea started building on me. And then I put together my experience as a potential owner of a classic car with the technology part, with the governance part, and then I come together with the business model of the Motor Chain, and that happened about 3 years ago.
Wow! So 3 years ago, this episode is airing, late January 22. So we're talking 2019.
2019 exactly is when I put together the business model in the PowerPoint. I did my business model canvas. I think it's a very nice first step, which I recommend to everyone to do. Okay, yes, you put yourself whiteboard and write everything you have in your mind, and then validate the idea. That's what I did. I went to the country, and then I visit car collectors, car restorers, and I say, listen, that's what I thought. What do you think? Might it work? What is wrong? What is right? And I got positive feedback. Okay, and then I say, okay, so I might be right. I might be a little bit ahead of time, but let's give it a try.
So you've got a computer science background, and you love classic cars, and you have these two things, and you already know about the blockchain, right? Yeah. So you made a statement before we started recording. Can you repeat that for the audience? Because I think it's a powerful statement. It's an important one, especially right now today, because I think people are jumping on the blockchain just to jump on the blockchain, but you had a different approach to that. Can you share that with the audience?
Yes, well, this is something which I didn't build the motor chain around the blockchain. So I didn't build a business model around the blockchain. I had a business model, and I thought that the blockchain could add value to that. So what I did, I validated that as well. So I went to the expert and say, guys, so tell me if I'm not killing flies with cannons, right? Tell me blockchain will empower my business model. And they say, yes, actually, your business model is a very nice case of using blockchain. And that's why I'm using it.
Right.
If blockchain didn't exist, I would have had to develop it, okay, to do it. So for me, it's a commodity, right? It's perfect. I love it.
And for the users that don't know what the blockchain is, the way I describe it very simply is that one, there's not one blockchain, there's hundreds of blockchains or thousands of blockchains at this point. And basically what it is, it's either a public or private ledger, right? It's just lines, it's rows in a database that are publicly available that are vetted by other people, basically.
Correct.
Right.
Exactly.
So
correct.
It's not this crazy, everybody's scared of the Bitcoin and the transactions and all this other stuff. At the end of the day, the blockchain is a very straightforward kind of technology. It's not that complex. So
it's not that complex. It's proven, it works. It has been accepted by the community, and it gives reputation when you use it and when you use it for the right purpose.
Right.
That's it.
So I'm super excited to jump into the tech talk here, but more so only because I love this technology, but I'm really interested in the mindset of the entrepreneur and the commitment that it took. Like, you had to have a lot of conviction because you left your corporate job to go 100% in on the motor chain in a time, 2019. I mean, maybe 1% of the world knew what NFTs were at that moment, right? And we might be at 10 or 15% now, right? It's still a very new technology, and you're leaning all the way in on it, leaving the comfort of your job, insurance, all those things. Can you tell the audience a little bit about, what was going through your mind to do that, to have that conviction, and what kind of, mitigation tactics did you have in mind that, oh shoot, if this doesn't work, how do I get all my stuff, my life back?
So first is, like I say, I validated the concept, okay, in both on the business side and also on the technology side. I got on all green lights, and then of course I put together my personal cash flows. I discussed this with my life partner, which is a key success factors of the whole thing. Without her, I would not be keep trying and pushing forward, that's for sure. And then, of course, very important is to have good people around you supporting you through the journey. And you will need a lot of resilience, a lot of perseverance. And you have to keep the faith on what you're doing. I mean, I'm, like you say, we are early adopters of this. I think we are still ahead of time, okay, in the motor chain. We can discuss this a little bit about Web3. But the motor chain is an example of Web3 already. And it's a business model I put 3 years ago, but it's a Web3 platform. And it's amazing that, wow, I mean, something I put together 3 years ago is actually is the future already. And but it is.
Right. Absolutely. I'm 100% on board with you. I have as much conviction that this is the future of technology as you do, and I'm putting a lot on the table for it as well.
So everything is telling me is the right way, is the right thing to do, and therefore I'm keep going. I will make it happen.
Fantastic. So what I heard, and for the audience, that is, if you're taking this position and you're going to leave your corporate job or your job that has insurance and benefits and all that stuff, you have to be really creative. Talk to all of your people that in your circle and leverage every possible asset that you have, right? For Julio, he's able to use his partner's medical insurance to make sure that the healthcare was there. That's important stuff, right? You got a roof over your head. You can eat and all those things, because those fundamentals have to be taken care of. Because if you're thinking about those all day, you're not going to be focusing on growing your business, and that's really what you have to do.
Exactly. There is something which probably the people we heard about this, but it's the cash flow. Cash is oxygen for you and for the company. So you need to keep always both up to date. You need to know how much your daily life costs,
Right.
and you need to know how much the daily life of the company costs. You need to have your forecast, and it gives you also tranquility. I mean, listen, I might end the year with this amount of money. I know, okay, and you know you need holidays as well, so you need to put apart some money for holidays, not only for eating. This is important, and your mental health, physical health is key. I mean, to make this happen, and you need money for that.
Right.
And cash flow is important. It's a tool that you will need to do. You have to do, and I encourage you to do it. It's important.
Absolutely. So, and it's really important. And if you're worried about cash flow, and we all are, right? It's the report card of our business and our life for the most part. So, it's a tough call. But if you're passionate about something, make the jump, do it. But make sure that you have the right resources in place that you can actually execute the job. Right? Don't quit your job because you have an idea tomorrow and you want to execute on it and you don't have a plan, or you've not talked to anybody in your family and you don't know how you're going to live for the next 30, 60, 90 days, because that's a pretty scary proposition.
Take all you learn in corporate. I mean, you manage budgets. I mean, you have responsibility, so walk the talk, right?
So I want to try to do a layman's term description of what it is that you guys are doing, right? And then you can kind of tell me, correct me if I'm wrong. So basically, you've got a classic car, and it's got all of its records, the user manual, all that stuff scanned, and every oil change report that you can find, all these things. And you're building a NFT, or a non-fungible token, which is a single asset or a unique asset that lives on the blockchain. Is that?
That's correct. At the moment,
now, on the blockchain, for NFTs, you can create a system that is, there's more than one unique piece, right? You can have 10,000 of them. Like for artwork, they do that a lot. For the digital art, they do it. But for this case scenario, every NFT would be absolutely unique, only one minted. And are you tying that back to the VIN number somehow?
Exactly. So basically, when you register a car, you have your real asset, you have your car, and then you register the model, obviously the manufacturer, the year. Very important is the chassis number or VIN number, and you have to provide with an evidence that this actually VIN number exists. Then you have the transmission number, the engine number, and all the different. At the moment that you have completed this, you register, and then an NFT in the blockchain is created. So do you have a digital twin of your real car in the blockchain, right?
Okay.
I don't call it NFTs, okay? I call it NFCs because it's a non-fungible companion to your real car. So both, from that moment on, you have a real car and the digital twin in the blockchain, moving together.
Following through, as long as the new owner maintains the records.
That's the idea. So if you are a good classic car owner, you need to keep a good documentation. It's a responsibility, right? Because we like to say we are just custodians of the car for the next owner, right?
Right.
And bear in mind, the documentation of a car is between 10-15% of the value. Right?
Yes.
And, so it's significant. So when you have two cars, you will always go for the better.
Well, and that's on the low side, right? That's just for an average person. If a celebrity owned that car, or
exactly
the right mechanic worked on it, then it could be worth even more.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. The most important of the motor chain, I mean, the big differentiator comes that, yes, of course, the owner can document the history of the car, but with the motor chain, you can open the documentation to professionals that will work on the car. So you take the car for service, and then the professional can document on behalf of the owner whatever work they do on the car. And because we use blockchain, that work remains immutable in time, but also irrefutable. So in the future, nobody can dispute that car went through these professionals, which if you are a good owner, obviously they will be trusted professionals. So we apply the 4 eyes principle. So the more people from the ecosystem you have participating in your car's documentation, the higher the trust on the documentation and therefore on the car will be, and the higher the value.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got a really deep question about NFTs now, and so
let's see if I can answer.
I think you can. So the blockchain is fantastic for governance, right? To have third-party verification of data. And
Sure.
NFTs, where I think NFTs have the most value, at least in my mind today, is for an artist or an owner or a creator of content somehow publishes that content, and they have some participation in the secondary market in that smart contract. In your system, is there anything available for that, so that I've taken the documentation today? Would I benefit if that car sells in the future? Would I potentially get some value back from my documentation in that NFT?
No, you will basically get whatever you get in the real world.
So this NFT is 100% transferable and no commissions paid to the previous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So it's an important thing to, when you're writing NFT contracts, and you understand that if you create content on an NFT and you're creating that NFT contract, you can put in there that if I sell this NFT or the next person sells it, that I get a commission on the secondary sell of that, and you can make that perpetual forever. But in this particular NFT, it's you sell the vehicle, the NFT transfers with the sale of that VEN.
Exactly. That's why, I was trying to find, a name, and I think this is a world premiere, which is, I call it NFCs. It's right. A companion to the real car. So you cannot split, or you should not split both. I mean, when you sell the real car, you transfer the whole documentation, the digital car, to the next owner.
Absolutely.
Which is great, because then we automatically have in the history timeline the provenance of the cars.
So it's almost like the vehicle owns the NFT, not the owner.
Yes, actually, the star of the whole thing is the vehicle, because
right.
We put the vehicle on the middle of the ecosystem, and the vehicle and the NFT will stay in this world forever, and we are gonna pass. So this is right. So, but the cars will be here, will remain in this world, and the NFT as well. It's beautiful. I really like it.
And in your system, can I attach pictures and videos of the car as well?
You can, of course, you can attach pictures and PDF documents. That's the two type of documents. Videos is in the roadmap. Yeah.
Right. So I remember I had a 66 Impala, and I'm a Shriner, and I'm a big supporter of the Shriners hospitals, because they help kids. And I used to drive my car in the parade. So it'd be great to have all those videos of the parade. And I'm sure that would help the value of the vehicle as well, right? It's been in 100 parades. That would in my mind, make it more valuable. But today, that knowledge doesn't even exist, right? Of the history, the true history of the car. So I think it's really cool. Do you have users using this today already?
Yeah, we have over 300 cars actually already, and with an average value of 80k euros. So actually we have cars of every type. We have jump timers, which are not very expensive, but then we have some significant cars, which obviously I cannot talk about.
Right.
So it's a mix, which is great. I mean, I love it.
And can anybody, since the blockchain's an open technology, can anybody kind of go and look at these cars?
No. This is very important. No, so the model chain is closed. It's for the owner. So it's like your binder. So if you want to show your car, it's always the owner who starts the process.
Okay.
So you are selling your car, and then it's a link. You share a link. Then the potential buyer will receive the link, and then he will request the access to the whole documentation, right? And then the owner, and that's the Web3 thing, the owner always have control of the information of the car, who has access to what.
Right.
This is very important, right? So it's the owner who actually takes control of the information. there is a paradox in this. You own the car, but you don't own the information.
Right.
So with the motor chain, you can collect all the information of your car, put it on your NFT, and then from that point on, you own who has access to what. And this is the difference. But you cannot browse the cars in the motor chain. It's completely private. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's pretty cool stuff. So for a classic car owner, and this is like, I don't think the average person understands how big of a business classic cars are. I know that I manage a network, and it's a classic car owner. I'm not going to say his name, but how many buildings does he have? It's got like 15 warehouses filled with classic cars, and his gig is that you can park your classic car there and then browse, and then it's for sale, right? So he's a consignment seller. But I know he's got 15 warehouses around the country, and we manage his network for him. It's a lot of fun because I get to go to the warehouse here in St. Louis and look at the cars every now and then. And I absolutely love it. But my wife hates it because every time I'm like showing her picture, like, let's buy this one. But I'm only promised one more classic car in my lifetime for my wife, and I'm saving it for later. But
there is a classic car for everyone, and I think most of the people will end up having one. We have your electric car for the city, and then the classic car for the weekends, and I can see that happening. Yes.
It's a lot of fun driving. They're expensive toys. It's a very expensive habit to have. I know that when I had my Impala, it cost me about $500 every time I took it out because something would break on me. But it was worth it, and I had a lot of fun, a lot of great memories with me and my daughter in the parades and things like that. So these cars create all kinds of memories for us, and we've got some pictures in a photo album or some pictures on Facebook now, but there's really been no cumulative place to put all this data. And now you've created that. So I think that's really cool. When should somebody consider going into the motor chain with their vehicle?
I received this question many times, and my answer is always the same. If you love your car, you should have it documented.
So this is not just for classic cars. This is preserving the data of all vehicles. So if I bought a brand new Tesla tomorrow, I could go to the motor chain and start the process of documenting it from birth all the way from its entire existence.
You should. In my opinion, you should. Indeed.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Do you have any offers that you would like to give our audience? How would they use that service?
Yes, of course. So I'll be happy that you guys try the motor chain. So I will offer 25% discount for the annual subscription for the first 25 listeners that would like to give it a trial.
Fantastic. And you can find that at themotorchain.com, and Bricks TMC is the coupon code. Will get you 25% off to start documenting your vehicle. But the proper documentation, you said, adds 10 to 15% value on your classic car.
Yes. Normally, that's the average, between 10 and 50% when you are about to buy a classic car and you have two cars which are equal, which, rarely happen. You have to go for the best documented always. And that probably is a premium of 10, 50%. Indeed, yes. Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. Indeed. So if you had to give somebody has a great idea and they have the resources and they're thinking about quitting their corporate job, what advice would you give that person before they make that decision? Is there one or two tips, like very key components that you didn't think of before you went into it, that you had to scurry and get together after that transition?
I think do your homework. There is a lot of information up there in the internet, a lot of people that you can ask advice to. Listen and trust on these advices. Do your business model canvas, take your idea out of your head, put it together, go and validate it from a business perspective, validate the business idea, and then from technology perspective, if it's a technology model, and then also do your business case. This is very important, and do your 5 years cash flow for the company, and then do your business case, so your personal cash flow as well, and check whether you can survive without income for sometimes a significant time, a significant period of time. Write your milestones. So first year, I need to be here. Second year, I need to be here. I mean, establish your KPIs. I need to have 1,000 users, 2,000 users. I need to be generating revenue by, yes, I mean, I'm not telling you when, but that depends on your model, on your business, of course. But put yourself goals and go for them.
Absolutely. And on top of those goals, I would say make really aggressive goals, right? You will be absolutely surprised at what you can accomplish if you commit to doing it. And you're not going to commit to doing it until you written it down, or you said it out loud, or you've made some kind of commitment to hitting that goal. And I think you'd be wildly surprised when you start really committing to your goals about how much you can actually do with your life and your career and all of those things. It's pretty crazy. Commit, and you'll start getting the work done. Like it happens. I promise
You have to push yourself. You have to push yourself. Otherwise,
Yes.
it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and I've heard, all kinds of different ways to do this. I have to recommit every day. If I don't commit every morning, like, hey, I'm going to do this today, and this is my goals, and this is what I'm living for, then, I find myself at a long lunch with a couple cocktails and having some fun, and my day kind of escapes me if I don't recommit almost every single day. So some people commit once and they just keep working towards their goals. I have to do it every morning.
It's a very healthy routine. I agree.
Yeah. So, it is what it is. Get to work. You got to do it. If you want to try something, my advice is always just get working. You don't have to quit your job to get started. You can start doing it side hustles, all of those things. There's lots of stuff out there for everybody to do their stuff. Thank you so much, Julio, for your time today. Is there anything you'd like to leave the audience with?
No, I mean, thank you, Ken, for your time. I invite you obviously to give a trial to the motor chain. If you have questions, write me an email. I'll be happy to
I
answer.
am going to give it a shot. I have a pretty absurd Jeep Gladiator right now that is pretty modified. So I think it would be fun to get in there and start kicking around and looking at that and documenting its life cycle, because it's a weird case scenario today in 2022. It's the first time in my life that I bought a vehicle that's appreciated in value. Right. And I don't know how long that's going to last, because, once they figure out the supply chain issue, I think the car values are in a weird place right now. But
a little bit of, we don't know exactly.
Yeah, there's some outside factors that are manipulating the value of our vehicles right now, and the supply chain and the chips and all that stuff. But it's good fun. I love cars. I don't have a huge passion for them. It's not my main hobby, but it is always fun to look at them and learn about them. So thank you, Julio, for what you do and for taking that leap and taking the time with us today to talk about it.
My pleasure, Ken. Thank you very much to you.
Thank you so much. And that's it for today's show, folks. Again, my name is Ken. If you'd like to join my text line community, the number is 314-370-2871. You can ask me any question you want about business or technology, and I'll give you an absolutely free, unbiased opinion. That's it for today. Get to work.